We've made spaghetti in the Instapot before on this channel, but I've done it so many times since then. I feel like I have better ideas or better tips and tricks maybe. So I'm going to share that with you this evening. First, we're going to put our Instapot on saute. Get that going, throw a little bit of olive oil in there. I'm going to take an onion and dice that up, a whole onion. And then we're going to take I have some leftover sweet peppers that I'm just going to take the ends off and de-seed them, dice those up and throw those in there. And then we're going to let them cook for a little bit on that saute method. So just until they're softened, or until, if you want them a little crunchy, you don't need to cook them that long. I like them kind of translucent. And then what we'll be doing after that is getting our ground beef in there. I'm using a whole onion, a couple of sweet peppers, and then a pound of ground beef goes in there, because you'll want to watch your liquid in the amount of liquid that you put in there, plus the sauce and all the ingredients. There is a max line on there that you do not want to overfill your Instapot, because when you go to release the pressure, it will spray everywhere. So try to keep everything under that line. As you can see, my peppers are a little older. They're still good. There's no mold, and they're not that wrinkled yet, but you can tell that it's hard to cut through with the knife because they're just a little soft. But it's okay. They're still good. And I ended up I threw the rest of those away just because they were getting softer and I wasn't going to be using them for anything else. Don't always throw stuff like that. I wouldn't buy peppers just to necessarily throw in there, because I buy the garden spaghetti sauce, but veggies all cut up and get them cooking in the olive oil, we're going to add in our pound of ground beef. This is something that was just taken out of the freezer, and I'm having a very difficult time in finding the saran wrap. Saran wrap's not one of my favorite, but it helps with the freezer burn. So once we get that in there, then we're going to be chopping that up into little pieces. I like the ground beef finer. I don't like big hunks of beef, so I chop it up a lot, get it in there mixed in with the onions and such. Now it's time for some seasonings. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of black pepper in there. I put some fresh ground pink Himalayan salt goes in there. So now that that's in there, we're going to cancel the saute, and then we're going to put on pressure cook on high for 10 minutes. And I think it's a high normal for 10 minutes. So here's where I take my spaghetti and I break it up into thirds. And I know that there's people that cringe when they break their spaghetti, but break it up into thirds, and then you're going to kind of just scatter it in there, kind of throw it in there. I know that I've layered it before. You don't want to do that at clumps. You want to make it to where it, when you all kind of mix it up, it looks like a bird's nest. So you're going to do that with just the noodles. You're not going to stir the meat and the veggies into the noodles. And I forgot to take a picture of it so you can see what it looks like, but they've said you make it look like a bird's nest, so it's just kind of all over the place. There's no uniform to it. So then you're going to take 2 jars of your favorite spaghetti sauce. Mine is the garden combination from Meijer. It's so good. But just dump it out. I kind of dump it on top, maybe a little bit on the sides. And then what you're going to do is take your beef broth. See there, it kind of gives you like you could kind of see the bird's nest a little bit. Take your beef broth. You can dump a little bit in there. I dump it around the sides, but then I dump about half. I fill the jars about halfway up with the beef broth, because then what you're going to do is you're going to shake it. Make sure you clean all that sauce out. Again, when I dump it into the pot, I kind of go around the edges, so it gets down in there beside like the noodles. It surrounds the noodles. So that is, I think, 4 cups of broth. And then you'll see here that once I empty that jar into the Instapot, that it is clean and completely empty, and that's what you'll want to do. Once that's done, then you're going to want to put your lid on, make sure it's tight, sealed, so it builds that pressure. And then you're going to let that cook down for 10 minutes. Once that 10 minutes is up, go ahead and hit your release button. Your sauce is going to be extremely liquidy. Just stir it, let it sit for a little bit. The noodles will continue to absorb that liquid, and it is just the most perfect spaghetti. Thank you. Sorry, thank you. Have a great day. You too. This is my weakness. It is a peach and strawberry smoothie. All it is fruit puree. I never can say that word. No whipped cream. Delicious. I received one of my Amazon packages today. I have a few coming that I'm going to share with you. But this is a food scale. VitaFit. So I'm not into measuring my foods out or weighing anything out, or, I guess it could come in handy if I ever decide to do that. I only spent like $10, $13 on it because I wanted it for when I buy ground beef in bulk. And I always eyeball my, if I have a big roll and it's a 10-pound roll, then I take my knife and try to eyeball it. Well, I thought, for 10 bucks, I can have a more precise measurement. So it does I think it's battery operated. I don't have it to charge. It's not fancy. It doesn't hook up to an app or anything. So let's see. I'll turn it on. So does it do the calories? No, it can't do the oh, it was calculating. Duh. Jeez. Okay. So I'm assuming that takes it back to 0 if it ever gets off. And then your units, it's so touchy. Like you just touch the button and it weighs it. So it does milliliters, grams, kilograms. ounces, which I guess I could do ounces. Oh, and then it does pounds and ounces, and then milliliters. So this would be cool. I'll put like saran wrap or foil on across it, and then I'll put a ball of meat. Oh, what does that mean? Huh? Like I'm hovering. That green light means something because it's. But anyways, and then I can have a more precise pound packages or 2-pound packages or whatever I decide to do. But yeah, it's my little, I got it on Amazon. Like I said, it was like 10. I know it was no more than 13, but it was at least 10 because I was looking at a couple and I don't remember which one's which, but yeah. Cool. Well, I'll, if I can find it, I'll put the link down in the description.